So then you join me at an incredibly cold Oulton Park in December. It's not race season, the season's over and done. But we're here with Bonded MPH Audi TCR UK team after what's been an interesting season in the TCR UK Championship, a championship that's grown really rather well in the UK. I was invited to come along after, some of you might have seen the video, when I had a little outing with the team at Donington for a lap, but today I've had the full treatment, and my God, I'll tell you something, you think you know what it's like to be in a racing car. If you're not a racer, you're wrong. You're very, very wrong. This time it was visceral, and for a lad built like me, yeah, the straps cut in deep. There was no quarter given, no quarter taken, curbs attacked, even though it was a damp track, and it was an absolute thrill of a lifetime, and I can't thank the team enough for the opportunity. For those of you who followed touring car racing in the UK, you know that TCR UK itself has grown quite a bit in the 2023 season. It's brought in some nice new lovely Gen 2 cars that have been a little bit quicker than the Gen 1 car that I've been out in today, and believe you me, that's more than fast enough for someone like me. The key to the championship, however, is teams like this, teams that come because of the passion, teams that have racing ingrained through the core, through every member of the team, from team principal, driver, mechanics and hospitality, because yes, I think that's an important thing to say about the team. The hospitality and the attitude of it is quite sublime. It's a model that works for that team but doesn't work for every team. But on a personal note, I think it's a step up that some other people should look at. Last time I was here in the early summer, it was absolutely scorching. It was one of those days where I wore a baseball cap backwards and forgot to put my sun cream on, and ended up with a D on my forehead. Today's very, very different. Today's a day where the team's able to say a thank you to those who support them through the year. TCR UK in 2024 is going to see a few changes. It's going from a 2 to a 3 race weekend, apart from, ironically, here where everything's done in one day with 2 races. There's 2 new tracks coming to the championship. Well, a returnee in Silverstone International, which was last raced in 2021, in Thruxton, the Speed Bowl, for the likes of me, very far down south. While balance of performance remains the same for 2024, you can't believe how hard it was to get that out right. After 14 takes, ballast is changing. Yes, I got it right this time after about 14 takes. Yeah, this is staying in. So although this has been quite a fun day out and quite an interesting experience, honestly, the place that really got us the most was the chicane. Highlight of the season?
Well, I'd say Donington probably, but controversial one, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, we've had a few podiums in the Audi, but certainly winning a race is obviously the highlight. Whether we got to keep the result or not, we'll ignore that bit. But on track, we finished first, so yeah, definitely Donington. And
Oulton Park here in the hot weather, you managed to chase.
Third place, I think it was.
Yeah, it was chasing Darrell and Paul.
Yeah, it's always very difficult to overtake around here. I think we worked our way up the grid through qualifying and obviously race 1 to get the reverse grid result, and obviously yeah, it was quite a difficult race, to be honest. I know Jensen by the end of it was closing me down to like half a second a lap, and that's what I remember is up to the last few laps there, just seeing his headlights getting closer and closer. But no, it was good. It was good because it feels like a home win here, even though it's not Yorkshire, but still feels like a local track. So
the right road's just the wrong colour.
Exactly.
Have you achieved the goals that you set out at the beginning of the season?
Definitely. Yeah, I think I mean, obviously, when start of the season, we knew we were in a Gen 1 car, we knew there was going to be Gen 2 cars there, and we knew there was nothing on paper or anything to separate the two. So, obviously, now looking back, it's quite obvious the differences between the two cars, and now they are actually in a different class, which I think has been recognised throughout the season. But yeah, I think we just intended to do what we could do. I mean, if you look back at the results, we beat most lap times, you know, set by the pole times of the current gen of the previous year. So I think, yeah, definitely we did what we wanted to do. I mean, at the end of the day, we go racing for a laugh, and we certainly did have a good laugh all season. So yeah, it was good.
This is the second season in TCR with the Audi. How much do you think the championship changed?
The first season, obviously, we were more competitive. I think we were learning the car. We had a few reliability issues, some bits and bobs that you get with, you know, learning a new car, teething issues. So certainly that season was a lot of learning. I think if we'd have gone into the first season like we had in the second season, knowing what we know about setup, you know, running the car, what needs to be changed, serviced, obviously, I think we'd have been fighting for the championship. But obviously, given that everyone else sort of stepped up following year with new cars and whatnot, you know, it was almost impossible to try and fight for a championship then. But it was still fun to, you know, chase down, you know, reverse grids. And I think there was no sort of expectation for us either.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows the Gen 1. I think we were the only Gen 1 car left by the end of the season other than Durrell. So yeah, everyone sort of got a bit disheartened by the difference there. But no, I think certainly both seasons were great. I mean, having Bondit on board and everyone like that, it's always very good.
That's an important thing, because up and down the TCR pit lane, there's very different ways of going racing in terms of raising money and getting on the grid.
Yeah.
How important is it to have a sponsor the way that you have a sponsor and deliver the hospitality and things like that the way you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it's obviously for each individual's got a different set of circumstances that they're in. Obviously, if you're fortunate enough to be able to go racing without a sponsor or anything, then, you know, all power to you and go out and get the results. Obviously, for us, it's slightly different, given budget restrictions. But obviously, we worked really hard. Dad puts together an amazing deal for, you know, to get us racing and to get us, you know, on the grid. And I think we made the most of it as well. We've had all good feedback from Bondit, so that's always a good thing. But yeah, I think, you know, it's however you can go racing, you should go racing. Whether you need to go the extra mile with the hospitality and everything just to get the people through the door that can pay the bills, you know, that's what we do, and it works for us. So.
Just going back to the championship itself as well, this year obviously a lot of newer cars coming in and whatnot, but there's also been, I think, arguably a slightly higher calibre of driver as well. Has that made the one-on-one battles a little bit more interesting?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, at the front of any championship, you're going to get good drivers. There's no, I don't believe there's any championship in the country that's got, you know, slow people at the front. Like, it doesn't happen. They're always, the talent is always at the front of the grid, and they'll come and they'll go. I think this year again was so competitive. There's so many quick lads that could have, you know, won races. And most did, to be fair. So yeah, I think it's definitely gone in the right direction in terms of the talent level as well. But not to say that the first year we were in it wasn't any good, because again, so many talented guys and so many guys that had been in the championship for quite a while before that, knew the cars inside out, knew the championship, knew the teams. You know, for us in the first year, it was purely learning. You know, it was see what we could do. Like we'd never turn up to a race if we didn't think we could win it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a high calibre driver. So.
Looking forward to next year, I think what about the new track, Silverstone International and Thruxton?
Yeah, Thruxton, I've never been, ever. I've done Silverstone International a few times in juniors. I think we had a win in a broken drive shaft there, one time I raced there. The Thruxton, again, yeah, it's a really exciting track, and I'm very, very much looking forward to going there, because it's meant to be fast and scary. And when you watch touring cars there, British touring cars, it's always a very exciting event, and it does look like a fun track as well. Even on the sim, it's really fun, because it's almost like oval racing. You know, you're all tucked in behind each other using the slipstream and everything. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Whether we'll be in this or something else, I'm not sure yet. You know, there's a few options available. We're just trying to finalise a few things and see what happens. Definitely the aim would be for the Gen 2 Championship. Obviously that's like, you know, the difference between Formula 1 and Formula 2. Would you rather win a load of races in Formula 2 or would you rather compete in Formula 1? You know, it's that decision. But I think we've got the team, we've got the ability to sort of compete quite competitively in the Gen 2 Cup, as we showed at Donington with our first time out in the car. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. There's nothing finalised yet.
Season, did you achieve your goals?
As we have done before, we got the best out of the car that we think we could have, car and driver that we think we could have got out of it.
Yeah.
So the results are what they are. So we'd have liked to be a bit further up, but with the Gen 1, we got the best we could get. And drivers happy, I'm happy, team's happy, sponsors are happy. So yeah, in that respect, yes, we did all right.
Was there a particular highlight or?
The highlight is definitely Donington, where we got Brad in the Gen 2 and managed to finish the race in the lead, despite then having it taken off us. But we know the car was legal. We crossed the line first, and we know that if we could get Brad into the Gen 2, we'd be able to do a full season of that.
What about this car though? I mean, you're talking about saying the highlight of the year was obviously the Gen 2 Cupra. So does this car still surprise you?
We managed to get on the podium at Alton as well this year in this car, and of course, in a lot of respects, that's a bigger accolade than putting the Gen 2 on, you know, winning the race with the Gen 2, because we know this car is not quite where the Gen 2s are, even though we've always argued it's very close. It's just not there enough to really be fighting for constant wins. So you can only really go for reverse grids, try and get as near the front as you can, and literally see what you can do from there. But the car's fantastic. We love the car.
Now, obviously, as a team boss, you take a different angle from the drivers and whatnot, and you've been in TCR for 2 years now. You've obviously seen the championship change in the championship rule. What else is needed to step it up?
I think probably more awareness of TCR to people who enjoy motorsport, want to watch good motorsport, and are simply not aware that TCR even exists, or certainly don't know when it's on or where it's happening. So I think a lot more general awareness of TCR through whatever streams of media, but more general awareness. There's not a weekend goes by where we don't get somebody watching the garage who stumbled across the event for whatever reason and never knew that TCR existed, and absolutely love it once they're here. But I think general awareness, getting more people to view it on the YouTube stream and more people to come to the events, and it would be there really, because the racing's fantastic, the cars are fantastic, most of the people are fantastic. So yeah, it's a really good grid. The cars are good, the drivers are good, the racing's good. It's the important part. I think it's just a lack of general awareness of TCR.
Now, two things as well in terms of the team management thing, the championship rising last year in terms of quality of drivers and performance of cars. There seemed to be a bit more elbows out racing. Has that raised the bills for damage?
We've done fairly well. We've not had any majors, and if Brad goes out in this car and he comes back with a dented door and a I don't know, a cracked bumper and maybe a wing mirror off, but we've had a good clean race, and the other guy's got similar damage, that's touring car racing. If you get hit up the arse into a corner and it causes you £2 worth of damage and you've been punted off for no reason, that's bad driving. So somewhere along the line there has to be a line drawn to what we class as bad driving and what we class as touring car racing, and what we're not necessarily allowed to do because it's a no contact sport, but a bit of rubbing is racing. So if we come back with a little bit of a damage bill after each weekend, but we've done the best we can and we've finished all the races, we're alright with that. But mindless damage, kamikaze moves for people who end up putting themselves in the barrier and taking you out with them, it's not required. It shouldn't be tolerated.
Now next year, I was speaking to Brad earlier, instead of asking what the goals were for next year, asked about the new tracks. It's not just that there's new tracks coming in terms of Silverstone International Trucks, there's also a new format across the weekend. Are you happy that it changed to the previous format like was used at Knockhill?
Yes, it's more work. Providing the entry fees are similar, it'll be effectively better value for money because you'll get more actual track time over a weekend. But I was happy enough with a qualifying day and a race day. But having said that, as far as our sponsors and our guests are concerned, having a qualifying and a race on one day and 2 races on the other day works quite well for us. So it works alright for us, so we're quite happy with that.
Yes, sponsors was something I spoke about earlier on as well, and that's an important thing I think to bring up, because the days of asking somebody for some money to put a sticker on your car, this championship's not really at that level, is it? And what you do with bonding's been something that's, perhaps from my opinion, should see a bit more of down the road.
Yeah, well we've built our package around what works for us as a team and works for the sponsors. So we got together and we put together a package where we would provide hospitality, we would bring the guests in, we would give them full access to the car and the garage area, and as you say, the branding of the car, albeit is part of the deal, it's not the deal breaker. The whole package together of getting the guests here, giving them a good weekend, is what's required. It's what we do. It works for us, it works for them. And yeah, you're right. I think it would be the way forward for a lot of teams in this paddock. That I think a lot of people do think, as you say, that it's just about getting a name on a car, and it's a whole lot more than that.
And lastly on the Gen 1 Cup, it's something that was moving for quite a while in TCR UK, and obviously it was announced a little while ago, and now it's been adopted worldwide. Are you pleased with that?
I am pleased with the overall idea. I need to dig a bit deeper into once the regulations for the UK version come round. I need to dig a bit deeper just to make sure that it's going to work as it's intended to work, and not end up maybe a free for all. But yes, in general, we look forward to that aspect of it, and we think it was required. Although sorting out the box so all cars were equal would have also ultimately done the same thing. Or possibly maybe even better. But we've come up with the Gen 1 Cup idea, which, if it's policed correctly and run correctly, should be absolutely fine. Should be a good asset.
So next year you're looking for a few more bottles of champion?
We would be hoping so, yes. If there was a Gen 1 Cup this year, we'd have won it.
Exactly, yes. So this closes off 2023. As you can see the car going past there, and I can certainly hear it. As we prepare for 2024, where TCR UK has moved from being a standalone headlining championship with a rotation of support bills. And if you really want to know what's going on in 2024 in all touring car racing in the United Kingdom, then check out Touring Car magazine. It's simply the best magazine you can get for touring car racing. It's great. Right then, see you later.